Welcome, everyone. Today, we are diving into something huge, a real game changer in the tech world, the European Union's brand new AI Act.
And believe me, this is going to shake things up. It's set to completely change how AI is built, sold, and used right across Europe. So it's absolutely crucial to get a handle on what this actually means for you and your business. All right, so here's our game plan for this explainer. We're going to cover why this rulebook even exists. Then we'll get into the real heart of it, the AI risk pyramid. After that, we'll look at what's straight up forbidden versus what's just high risk. We'll also talk about the big one, the cost of getting it wrong, and the timeline you need to have circled on your calendar. And finally, we'll get to the big question. Are you ready for this? So, first things first, why now? Why did the EU decide to create this regulation? Well, with AI moving at lightning speed, the need for some kind of unified legal framework just became impossible to ignore.
So what's the big idea here? It's really all about finding that sweet spot between letting innovation run wild and, making sure everyone is safe. By creating one single set of rules for everybody, the EU is giving businesses the clarity they need to work across the entire market, all while building public trust in the AI we use every day. It's really about laying a foundation for reliable, human-focused AI.
Now, the whole act is built around this pretty clear definition of what an AI system is. The key word here is infer. It's that ability to infer and then generate outputs that really sets complex AI apart from older, more traditional software that just follows a list of programmed rules. Okay, let's get to the core concept of the act. It's actually a really clever way of managing this complex technology without just shutting down all innovation.
Now, this is the main thing you need to remember. Not all AI is created equal in the eyes of this law. The rules that apply to you, they depend entirely on how much risk your AI system poses to people's health, their safety, or their fundamental rights. For instance, an AI that just suggests your next favorite song, that's going to have almost no new rules. But an AI that helps a doctor diagnose a disease, whoa, that's going to be under a serious microscope. That's the whole idea behind this risk-based approach.
This pyramid here, it basically shows you the entire framework. Right at the very top, you've got unacceptable risk. These are AI practices that are just flat-out banned, no exceptions. The next level down is high risk, which is allowed, but it comes with a lot of very strict rules. Below that, you have limited risk systems like chatbots, which mainly just need to tell you you're talking to an AI. And at the bottom, there's minimal risk stuff, like spam filters, which are pretty much free to use without any new rules. So let's zoom in on those top two tiers of the pyramid. This is really where the heaviest obligations are, and frankly, where your immediate focus for compliance needs to be.
The Act really starts by drawing a very hard line in the sand. It doesn't just regulate, it completely prohibits certain uses of AI that are seen as going against core EU values.
And here are a few of the big examples of what's completely off-limits. Think about government-run social scoring systems. Also banned, scraping facial images from all over the internet to build up recognition databases, or using AI to try and detect emotions in workplaces or schools. And finally, any system that uses manipulative tricks to cause real harm is, of course, strictly forbidden. Okay, so for that high-risk category, the focus changes. It's not about banning anymore, it's about rigorous compliance. These systems are allowed, but you have to prove they are safe, transparent, and fair from the moment they are created to the moment they're retired. And the requirements are pretty extensive. We're talking about things like having a solid risk management system, making sure your training data is high quality and free of bias, and keeping super detailed technical documents. On top of all that, you have to provide clear information to the user, have a real human overseeing the system, and ensure a high level of accuracy and cybersecurity. And this brings us to the part everyone wants to know about. What happens if you get this wrong? Let's just say the EU is not messing around. They've put some serious financial teeth into this regulation to make sure these rules are taken seriously. This law has some of the biggest fines of any EU regulation, period. They're designed to be a really powerful deterrent for companies of all sizes. Let's take a look at the actual numbers. For the absolute worst-case scenario, I'm talking about using an AI system that's been completely banned. You could be looking at a fine of up to 35 million euros.
Or, and this is the part that should really get the attention of bigger companies, if it's higher, that fine can be up to 7% of your company's total worldwide annual turnover from the year before. Yeah, whichever number is bigger. That is a huge deal.
And you can see here, the whole penalty structure is tiered. For violations with high-risk systems, the fines can go up to 15 million euros, or 3% of global turnover.
And even something like just giving incorrect information to the authorities can cost you up to 7.5 million euros or 1% of turnover.
Now, this regulation isn't just dropping on us all at once. There's a phased rollout, and you really need to be aware of it because some of these deadlines are coming up fast.
So the big takeaway here? The clock is absolutely ticking. By February 2025, that ban on prohibited AI is in full swing. Just 6 months after that, in August 2025, the rules for those big general-purpose AI models kick in. And then, the final piece of the puzzle. By August 2026, the entire regulation is live. That means all the nitty-gritty rules for high-risk systems are fully enforceable.
So now that we've gone over the rules, the risks, and the timeline, the final question is really for you and for your organization.
And this isn't just some, philosophical question. It is the very first most critical step your organization has to take right now. You literally need to take stock of every single AI system you're building, selling, or even just using, and figure out exactly where it lands on that risk pyramid.
Look, getting through this new landscape, it can be pretty complex. Once you've figured out which of your systems are high risk, you've got to do gap analyses, update all your documents, and put the right governance in place. Honestly, for a lot of companies, bringing in some outside help can be a game changer. It just helps streamline the whole thing and make sure you're ready when those deadlines hit.
At the end of the day, the EU AI Act isn't just another box-ticking exercise. It's a massive shift in how we all have to think about artificial intelligence. It's a challenge, for sure, but it's also a huge opportunity. The companies that get on top of this now aren't just going to dodge some hefty fines, they're going to build incredible trust with their customers and get a real competitive edge. So the question really isn't if you should get ready, but how you're going to lead the way in this new world of responsible AI. Thanks for watching.